Are you trying to navigate this crazy thing called life? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Unraveling with Rayne. Hello, my loves, and welcome to the podcast. So this episode is going to be a little bit different because you get to listen to yours truly. I do not have a guest this time, but that is okay because there's a lot of exciting things going on with this podcast and some other projects that I'm working on. And I have a message that I want to share with you guys today also. So, first and foremost, I just really want to thank everybody who has listened to this podcast so far. It has been so fun and such a journey. I've gotten to speak with some truly amazing people. And not just speak with, but our connections have lasted outside the podcast, and it's beautiful. And I get to meet their beautiful people that they know, and it's truly amazing. And so I just want to give a quick thank you to everybody, and thanks for listening today. Currently, it is mid-morning, kind of a gray November day, but that's okay, because I just feel really energized this morning, and I'm ready to just do this day, and I'm ready to face this winter. And I know that winter's rough, but I've been doing a lot of journaling lately, which is so good. If you do not journal, you should be journaling. It is amazing how it helps you harness your thoughts. And even before harnessing your thoughts, it helps you identify what the heck your thoughts even are, which is really cool. Because we think about a lot of things all the time, and bringing them to the forefront and to our awareness and seeing those thoughts on paper is kind of crazy. It's kind of cool, depending on the thought, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's really beneficial. So, side note. I've been doing a lot of writing lately. I haven't been working on my blogs as much, which is such a bummer, and I want to get back to writing more blogs. So if you haven't seen anything from me recently, just know that more is coming. And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about next. So because I do so much writing and so much self-evaluation, I have been able to kind of track my patterns, per se. And we hear people talk about, which season of life they're in. And of course, there's the literal seasons, fall, spring, summer, winter. But then that's also applied to people in what stages of life they're in. And I've noticed that my patterns or my seasons of life are a really, really quick, explosive growth phase where I just really honed my creativity and my ability to manifest things physically in my physical reality. And that's a cool place to be, and I like to hang out there. It's probably one of the most fun seasons, but I think that each of them have their own benefits. So after I hit this really big growth phase, I taper off and I go into more of a maintenance phase where I've made this huge jump, this huge growth, and now I need to figure out what the heck I'm doing with it, where I'm going with it, and then just really maintaining that growth that I have done. And through this maintenance process, as I evaluate the growth and the changes, I kind of start to discern what things are serving me and what things aren't. And I move into more of I call it the death phase, where things just kind of die off, or I have to purge certain things, and it's very much like a winter for me. And then that's a really hard phase, this, realizing that some things are ending, and just knowing that that's okay. Sometimes things need to end for us to progress and to grow into different things. I don't like to say bigger or better things because sometimes it's just different and that just serves us better. Not so much that it is better, it just serves each individual better. So then once I kind of go through and I start witnessing what things are coming to a close or coming to an end, or I'm no longer going to be progressing down this particular road, I fall into this grief stage. I I've been so fortunate to be put in so many places with so many different people that that just bring joy and life and love, and it is, oh my gosh, it is the most amazing thing to see those patterns and those paths coming to a close, or just temporarily coming to a close. It brings me into this grief phase because I need to be in this space where I become okay with the changes that have been made or that are manifesting, the changes that are coming. And with every birth there is death, and it's just part of the process. My favorite example of this is thinking of an apple tree. So an apple tree grows and it grows and it reaches its branches, and it provides this beautiful fruit and provides nourishment to animals and humans. And and before it even produces fruit, it's got these beautiful flowers that the bees come around and get nectar from, so it's providing for the bees and all of the insects that like to live on the tree, and it's providing all of these things, and it has to be so fulfilling to this tree to be doing exactly as it's intended, being a tree, providing what is necessary. But at the end of that providence and growth phase, slowly the leaves change colors, the fruit start to die off, and even sometimes branches are killed off to protect the base of the tree, the overall well-being of the tree. And that branch might have produced the most beautiful apples anybody has ever seen, but then there was some sort of infection or what have you, and that branch just had to go. And there's always a potential of regrowth, and that's where we grieve and then we move. We see that there is potential for new growth and new beginnings. And putting so much work and effort into things as humans, we like to cling to those things that we put so much work and effort into because we feel like it could be a waste. Or that's how I used to feel about this process of, oh gosh, that was so much work and effort and it's just a big waste. But then I forget about all of the beautiful fruit that was provided during that time, not just to myself, but to my family and hopefully other families that I have been able to interact with. So, yeah, the reason I'm explaining this process is because, again, blogs are slower, podcast content is slower, and I'm just kind of wrestling with some things that need to shift and need to change. And also, I am embracing this beautiful project. I have started writing a book, and it is so hard, you guys. It is incredibly hard. I think I have rewritten the outline to this thing 1,000,001 times. I have looked at it from all different angles, and it's a lot of work. So that's partially why things have been a little slow. Not that that's an excuse. That's just life right now. And so, granted, these seasons in life, I feel like they take forever, and I'm getting better at recognizing them so that way I can let go of things and move forward at a consistent pace. Consistency is really what I'm striving for right now in my life, and that has forced me to evaluate which things that I really want to be consistent with. And honestly, personally, being a mother to my beautiful children is the must. I must be consistent there. And so everything else is going to find its place. And I'm hoping to move to a bi-weekly for new podcasts. So if you do listen frequently, just know that you're going to get some new content soon. And I'm striving for consistency. And I apologize that I have been inconsistent lately with this particular area. Another big thing that is happening is during this process of, closing or death season and moving through the grieving process, it is like slowly showing me my purpose. And this could be my purpose in life. This could just be my purpose right now. I am unsure. I'm actually unsure with a lot of things in regards to my purpose, but embracing these seasons, embracing these changes, embracing the fact that I can create content and I can connect with others through that content is really pushing me towards getting a really clear outline of what my purpose is. And as exciting as it is, it's kind of scary. There's big things, but big isn't necessarily bad. And especially when it comes to our purpose in life. I think we all have a big purpose. And they're all different, which is really amazing to me. And the reason I feel like it's so important to pay attention to these things right now is because when we turn away from our purpose, we're not just hurting ourselves, but we're hurting everybody else around us also. So being shown these signs as to what my purpose is, I'll take it. I'm gonna take it. Run with it. I'm gonna do some stuff. And hopefully you guys join me along the way. It's gonna be fun. Well, I hope it's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay. Also, another thing I want to point out about being aware of your cycles in life and what those look like for you is I've noticed that every time I go through a cycle, I only cultivate more happiness and more wisdom. And I think because I was unaware of how I reacted and what my cycles were in life for so long, I couldn't cultivate that happiness because I really wasn't giving myself the opportunity to embrace all of the good with the bad, with the, not so bad, with the not so good. It's being aware of your cycles is really important. And like I said, for me, it's brought about my ability to truly cultivate that happiness and that wisdom moving forward into the next round in my life, instead of just kind of floundering around feeling like I'm hot and cold all the time. I kind of have a map. I'm building a map of my seasons, and I encourage you to do the same. I feel like I'm coming to the end of a really hard grieving process, and there have been so many things that I'm having to grieve right now as far as my work and the direction I'm going, and it's been heavy, and I am slowly feeling that lift. I'm feeling much lighter and much more prepared and ready to go into this next growth phase. And during this growth phase, not only will I be really focusing on my family and this book that I'm writing, but it's also posed some interesting questions for me to wrestle with while I do this work. And one of those questions were, who am I? I posed this question on my Facebook page, I think about a week ago now, just out of curiosity to see what people thought and what their responses were to this question. And I hadn't realized how long I was wrestling with this question. It's been at least a year when I go back and look through my writing. Another good thing about writing is you can always go back and look at your thoughts and where you were. It's good for showing, growth, but also showing, where we might be hung up still. And this question of who am I just kept pulling out of my writing as I was going through it. And I believe that this is kind of like the last piece of the puzzle that was keeping me where I was before moving into growth, my growth phase. So like I said, I didn't realize just how long I had been wrestling with this. But I noticed that my first clue was with Jen Jackson. I went and I did a spirit guide meditation for the first time. And I didn't know that once we got into this meditation and we were actually with our spirit guides, that we would be able to ask a question. I had no prep. I just went in, and then Jen prompted, think about a question that you'd like to ask your spirit guide. And my question was, who am I? Who am I? At 29 years old, I still didn't know who I was, and I thought that was so terrible. I felt that was just ridiculous. We should know who we are before we're 29. And slowly I realized that was, a really naive way of thinking, and understanding who you are is much more complex than that. But in this time in my life, I just felt that was like so ridiculous. Like, how do I not know who I am? Anyway, so that's when I first started writing this question about a year ago. And if you haven't watched my 30 days of meditation, you can. It's on YouTube. I encourage you to watch it if you are thinking about starting a more in-depth meditation practice. I give a few tips on what helped me in the beginning and my progression and what things I did along the way to kind of help fine-tune my practice. So that one is on YouTube, and it's 30 days of meditation. Also, if you are local and you can visit Jen and do a guided meditation with her, anyone, doesn't have to be a spirit guide meditation, but yeah, you should do that also. Okay, so the answer from my spirit guide was, you're the dirt, you're the wind, you're the sky, you're the water. And I'm gonna have to be honest with you guys, I cried. I came out of my meditation and I was just tears streaming down my face, because it was almost like a relief. I was given something tangible when I was seeking the answer to who I was. And that did something for me that I can't describe. Given something tangible tied me to my surroundings. If you haven't read any of my work or listened to any of my podcasts, I struggled a lot with anxiety, and it made me feel pretty flighty and up and not really sure what was what. So being given this answer was grounding. For lack of a better word, it was so grounding, because I was these things. I was made up of the same stuff as the dirt and the wind and the sky and the water, and I finally felt at home on this planet. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but I didn't know how uncomfortable or how much I didn't feel grounded and at home here. And once I had that, it was like a huge domino effect. So I got that bit of information from a spirit guide meditation. And then I posed a question in the Tri-City Podcasters group about how can we honor our past, stay present, but still look to the future. I was really trying to hone in on my ability to be where I was at, because that is what I love most about doing recordings with a guest, is it gave me that feeling of nothing else matters but this person in front of me and this discussion we're having right now. I had very few moments in life that provided that, or I allowed that to happen. And this was with complete strangers. Complete strangers. And here I was, face to face with them, and it is the most incredible feeling. It's just unlike anything that I had ever experienced in my life. This ability to sit with somebody, just the two of us. Nothing else matters. We are right here in this minute, in this second, in this nanosecond of time together. So I posed this question because I was trying to bring that same feeling into my day-to-day more and more and more. And I was given a recommendation to read a book to help with this idea on honoring our past, living in the present, but then still looking towards the future. And I was recommended the book Be Here Now by Ram Dass, and pick up this book. If you are going through some spiritual growth or spiritual work, this book is amazing. I have it on audiobook, and I've listened to it, I cannot tell you how many times. And each time I listen to it, I grab something different. And it just keeps teaching and forcing me to think deeper. But there's one thing that came out of this that really stuck with me. Really, just clung. And he talks, Ram Dass talks about his time as a college professor. And when he was posing this question, who am I, to his college students, he was a psychology professor. And he thought it was rather interesting. They would list occupation, gender, race, social status, all of these different things just to describe who they are. And then I don't want to say too much about the book because you need to read it or listen to it. But he went on a very long spiritual journey, and when he came back around, he compared his notes from his time as a psychology professor to all of the things that he had learned in India from his guru. And he never comes out and says, well, you are this. But basically, he challenges you to evaluate yourself and what you think of yourself and what you project as who you are. And this really did something for me. It brought me to this place where I can just say, I am. I am. And having this space where I didn't have to attach career, I didn't have to attach family role, I didn't have to attach anything. I just am. Again, another big hug from the universe saying, you are here, you are on earth, and you are at home. You're at home here. You are in this human body, and this planet was built for you. So just be here in this paradise that has been created for you. For you. Wow. So I'm embracing the space of I am, and also combining it with this new phase of growth and really meshing the two and figuring out what that means as far as my purpose. And no matter what I do and no matter how I present myself, right now, the number one thing in my life, aside from being a wife to my fabulous husband, is being a mom. I am only given this opportunity with my babies while they're still little for so long. And so I've decided that I am just going to embrace that. I'm going to embrace that aspect of who I am. And I'm just going to love it. I'm not going to shy away from it. I had this idea in my mind that as a mom, we can't do things, and if we say, yes, I'm a mom, then that's all we are. And I had all these mixed up ideas of what moms are to society, and it sucks, but I found myself pushing it away. I found myself trying to downplay my momness. And my mom is going to love that, I'm making up words because she proofread some of my writing, and she's like, I don't think this is a word. And I'm like, oh, well, it's going to be a word now. So that one's for you, Mom. We're going to embrace our momness. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm really embracing my momness right now, while my babies are so young and they are so dependent on me and my guidance and my ability to sculpt their little brains and pack it full of good food and nutrients and information and understanding and whatever wisdom I can acquire, I just don't know how that's going to fit with everything else. But then I thought, that's such a silly thing to think. I have this great opportunity. I have this platform. I have these people who are also moms out there seeking a deeper understanding of the world and their life and the people around them and cultivating happiness. And I want to share that experience with them. And I would like to experience it together with you guys. And so what that's going to look like is I'm probably going to be putting out more content, displaying my momness and talking about more mom things and what works within our home. So that's the direction I'm moving. I'm embracing my momness, and I am going to let that show in my content. And it just is amazing to me how I try to put parameters on such an open platform, on such a beautiful, wide open hall, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna walk on this line. That's just silly. So, moms out there, be prepared for mom content. And also, I'm embracing my skills and coming to the understanding, again, going back to being in alignment with our purpose, that it is extremely unhelpful to everyone if we shy away from our purpose. So I hope that you guys will embrace me in my momness, and if not, well, sorry, I'm still going to be me in my momness. But I'm going to wrap this recording up, guys. If you would like to answer the question, who am I? I'd love to hear your responses. And if you have kind of gone on this journey also with, wrestling with this question, I'd love to hear what you came up with and what came out of that work for you. Comparing and contrasting is a great way to maybe pick up on some things that you didn't quite contemplate before, and I absolutely love that. Also, if you feel so inclined, I'd like to hear what you guys have come up with as far as analyzing the seasons of your life. What do those look like for you? And how do you navigate them? Because I know that we each have our own way of doing things, and we have our own style, and our brains all function different. And I'm curious if other people's seasons in life look similar to mine or completely different. And I would just love to celebrate that. I'd love to celebrate the fact that we all get to be different and do our own unique thing, and also understand that it's serving all of us. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great day, and we'll chat soon. Thank you all so much for listening. If you would like to help support Unraveling with Rayne, go to patreon.com/unravelingwithrayne. When you become a patron, you receive bonus content such as behind-the-scenes footage, along with other special content that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Music for Unraveling with Rayne was provided by Barefoot Randy.